All right, welcome back to Salt City Counseling. Once again, my name's Scott Carter. I am a licensed therapist here in the beautiful state of Utah. Thinking about starting to call these videos Therapy with Scott. In this video, I'm going to talk about what I call not good enough syndrome, something that pervasively a lot of people are struggling with. And maybe in many cases, a lot of people are unaware of how it is really putting a damper on many things in their life. So, along with some discussion here about what it is that I'm actually talking about, so that we can define it, what it is that I'm talking about, so that people can recognize it in their own lives. But I'm also going to provide you with three journal prompts, therapy exercises, whatever you want to call them, during this video. So you're going to want to stick through it if you're interested in doing your own work. I'm really wanting to open a new chapter in my YouTube content here, where I provide people with a lot more mental health awareness, as well as the means to do their own work and engage in their own work. What I find, honestly, is that a lot of people have, unfortunately, ran into the experience that... Sorry, cat jumping down. I'm not starting over. People have ran into the experience that therapy just has not been that effective for them. They can't afford it. They can't access it. They want to be able to do their own work. Frankly, the therapist profession is a really super duper high burnout profession. And so it's hard to find good treatment these days. So let's kind of get into this. What are we talking about? I call it not good enough syndrome. It's closely related to perfectionism. There's a lot of people struggling with perfectionism these days as well. Perfectionism is a killer. It is rough. I mean, it really will put a damper on virtually everything in your life, including your work and your relationships and all that stuff. But we'll get there. But what I'm talking about here is that people often and pervasively seem to be struggling with this enormously difficult and complicated sense that they're just not good enough. And no matter what they do, no matter how much effort they put into it, they never feel good enough. Their efforts are not good enough. No matter what they accomplish, no matter how productive they are, they just don't ever feel good enough. And it's like this hunger. It really acts and behaves like a hunger that can never, ever, ever be satisfied. And it seems like with people, I've experienced this too, by the way. I definitely suffered with not good enough syndrome. I fortunately feel like I've gotten rid of it. Crossing my fingers. Took some doing. I'm not gonna lie. It took some doing. But I was also reinventing the wheel. I had never heard anybody talk about this or give me some guidance on how to do it. So I'm doing my best here to provide some awareness for you so that you can kind of tackle this, because it really is going to put a detriment on most things in your life. But anyways, what I find is that we sort of run on this hamster wheel, right? And operating under this falsehood that the more productive we become, the more effort that we put into all of this, the more likely we are to arrive or complete or eventually be satisfied. And what actually results is that we just feel more and more hungry. And there's this idea too. I came across it recently. I'm reading a book on it. It's a really fascinating book. It's a little dense, but I love it. It's really, really insightful and good. That talks about this phenomenon where people can get into the mode of trying to satisfy this hunger, and they can never do it. And in fact, the harder they try, the more hungry that they get. Greed is this way as well, right? Our Western greed, it's all around us, pretty obvious, I think, is very much like this. It's never good enough. No matter how much you throw at it, it's never good enough. And the trouble I find as well is that people just feel like they're going to have to be productive enough. And so day in and day out, they're running themselves ragged and just trying to be productive enough. And even what I find with most people, I've experienced this as well, so I know what it's like. I found that I could have like the best day ever, right? I could have done the dishes and done the laundry and reshingled the roof and repaved the driveway and done my meditation and exercised and caught up on my work and put in a full day's work and do my breathing, do my meditation, read a book, do all the things, eat well, blah, blah, blah. And when I go to bed, I feel somewhat satisfied. And then you go to sleep, wake up, whole damn thing just starts all over again. And day in and day out, it's just a struggle. It's a huge, enormous struggle to effectively satisfy that need or satisfy that hunger. And unfortunately, too many of us, it's like we're wasting our lives away with it. We lose the plot entirely. We forget why we're even doing it in the first place and what it is that we're trying to accomplish with it, and whether or not it's actually working, right? Because it's usually not. It's usually not. And so, honestly, folks, if you continue to run on this hamster wheel, you don't get anywhere. You just don't. And it's a mental thing, right? And just feeling like we're not good enough. So again, I'm going to provide some therapy exercises in this video to help you build some insight on how to work on it and get ahead of it. In addition to what I've already discussed here, what I find with people is they lose themselves in this pursuit, right? They don't know who they are after a while. It's almost like their identity becomes trying to feed this hunger, right? And they forget why they're doing things, why they're alive, what's the point of living, what's the purpose of living, why we're even here, right? What makes life good. And we seem to be a lot of us seem to be operating under the false belief, the falsehood in our heads that if we accomplish enough or do enough, that we'll find some sort of happiness, we'll find some sort of sense of completion. And I'm just telling you, folks, it doesn't work. You never get there. You just run and run and run and run and run, and you exhaust yourself and find yourself wasting your life away. And I know that a lot of people are feeling this way recently. Is our culture, our society, the way that we live, the way that we do things is really, if you ask me, deteriorated significantly in terms of what promotes wellness and what promotes good mental health and lives worth living. So the first thing that I want you to put into your head is to ask a really important question and really sit down with this question. In fact, this is going to lead into my first therapy exercise for you. And that question is basically this, right? Why are we doing this? Okay. So here is your first therapy exercise. Actually, real quick, hang on. If you don't have, so by the way, I bought these like little notebooks. I bought them in bulk. I give them to clients. It's like, it's on the house. Therapy with Scott. You're going to want to write things down. If you want to make progress, if you want to grow, if you want to change, if you actually want to get where you're wanting to go, writing things down is absolutely essential. A lot of people will tell me, well, I don't like writing. And my answer is usually this, well, that's nice. Do it anyways. The trick to being healthy is doing what's good for you, and not just what feels good or what you like. And Carl Jung, the famous foundational psychologist, psychoanalytic, or he's one of the OGs of psychoanalysis. He believed that you had to write things down, and you had to put things in writing if you really wanted to get the most out of it. And I wholeheartedly agree. Okay, so go get a journal, go get a notebook if you don't have one already. I like for people to set aside one specific notebook for just doing their own personal work. Okay. Anyways. Therapy exercise number 1 is simply this, okay? We're going to call it the question tree or the question chain. And you want to write at the top of the page, right? Why do I always feel the need to be productive? Okay, and then based on your answer on that, you're going to want to ask the next question. And what we're trying to do here is get through the layers, right? The psychological layers to get to the real core reason or core cause as to why we're doing this behavior. So the reason being is we want to shift our perspective. If you can shift your perspective, then it becomes much, much easier to change your behavior. I've seen this in therapy more times than I can count. If I can get someone to radically shift their perspective, they're going to walk out and do something drastically different. Nothing will stop them. It's like taking a red pill of sorts, right? And so ask yourself that first question. Why do I do this? Why do I always feel the need to be so productive? And the answer that you'll come up with is like, because I just feel like I'm supposed to be productive. Okay, why do you feel like you're supposed to be productive? Because I've always done that. That's just how I've always done it. Well, why have you always done it? And just keep pulling back the layers and digging it out, okay? And eventually the idea is that you'll get down to a core belief or a core idea and be able to rationally and cognitively dissect this whole thing so that you can shift your perspective on it, okay? So that's exercise number 1. Exercise number 2 is just simply called, we'll call it what's important to me. And what I want you to do is start making a list. Make a list of the things that are actually important to you. Okay, for extra credit, put down why that's important to you. Okay, and a lot of times we get into the mode of thinking that certain things are important when really they're hollow and meaningless and don't really get us anywhere or serve any good or positive or practical purpose. I did this exercise last year. It was really good. It was very positive for me. I ended up with 15 things on my list. That's just how many I ended up with, and made the decision. If a thing in the world or in life does not fall under one of these things on my list, let it go. Get rid of it. Move on. Focus on what's important to you, okay? So it's really important to establish your values, establish what's important to you, and build insight on what you do in life and why you do that thing, right? So many people, I plan on doing a different video on this, but so many people these days, they're so unhappy. They talk about feeling lost. They have no purpose in life. They have no sense of what on earth they're supposed to be doing with themselves. And this exercise is going to help with that as well. Like, why do I do what I do, right? Okay, so that's exercise number 2, okay? What is important to me? And before I get to exercise number 3, just a couple of quick business items. I just launched a brand new website yesterday. You might be watching this years later, whatever. My new website is up. And I really needed an updated website to reflect my values as a therapist and my experience as a therapist. The original one was from 6 years ago or something like that, 7 years ago. It was totally outdated, and so this new one, it really reflects me, reflects my practice, reflects my work. So go check it out, saltcitycounseling.com. Sign up for my newsletter. I'm not entirely certain that it's working properly, but my goal is to send out a monthly wellness newsletter. So make sure that you subscribe. Also, on that webpage, I'm offering like a life and wellness coaching option for people. I get contacted from people outside of my state all the time who want me to be their therapist. My license here in the state of Utah restricts me from providing therapy to people across state lines. It's weird, it's confusing, it's nonsensical. But so what I'm doing instead is I've decided to offer a life and wellness coaching option for people. And what that entails is far less what would be considered psychotherapy, and more so just like giving you actionable items as well as accountability to help you accomplish your goals in terms of your mental wellness, your physical wellness, and getting getting to where you want to go in life. I've done a lot of my own work. I continue to do my own work, and my coaching comes with a significantly robust background in mental health. I have a very strong clinical background. So go check it out, saltcitycounseling.com. I'll put the link in the description below. Okay, exercise number 3, and then we'll wrap this up. Exercise number 3 is basically an exercise that is designed to help you break down how the not good enough syndrome is affecting the various aspects of your life, okay? And so get your journal. Got to show it. I always have to show it. Top of the page, write down not good enough and how is this affecting me, okay? And then you're going to go through the various aspects of your life, okay? Your physical health, your social life, your closest relationship if you're married or whatever, your relationship with your children, your job performance, your work performance, your ability to have fun, your personal life, okay? And start writing down and making a list of all the ways in which not good enough syndrome is having an effect on your life, okay? After that, you're going to want to reflect on what it is that this whole I got to accomplish, I have to be productive, and how what it's supposed to accomplish, and if it's accomplishing that thing. Is it doing more harm than good? Okay, well, obviously, my stance is that it's doing far more harm than good in your life. But it's one thing for me to say it; it's another thing for you to see it, and you have to really see it for what it is. People truly get lost in this. To me, this is sort of what mental illness is when you get this total tunnel vision and the inability to see outside of this obsessive behavior, right? This like what are we calling it? Like just compulsive behavior. So just do the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. Okay, so those are your exercises. Go get on it. Get her done. Do yourself a favor. Start loving yourself. This is how we generate self-love, my friends. Okay, thank you for watching. Happy journeys, my friends. Namaste.